Well, hey there, HVAC pros and enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your skills to the next level? The HVACR Learning Network has just launched an exciting new e-learning course, High Performance Heat Pumps. And guess what? We're giving you free access to the first 2 chapters. Whether you're in the field, training for that next step, or simply want to sharpen your expertise, this course is packed with everything you need to understand and master high-performance heat pump systems, especially inverter-driven cold climate heat pumps. And the best part? You can access it anytime, anywhere, right from your favorite mobile device. It's HVACR learning made flexible and convenient for you. So what are you waiting for? Click the link. Dive into the HVACR Learning Network and start your free trial today. Your journey to HVACR mastery begins here.
Refrigerant recovery is the foundation for life cycle refrigerant management, as without safe refrigerant recovery, there cannot be reclamation or reuse. A-Gas Rapid Recovery is an on-site refrigerant recovery service that gives businesses an easy way to contain their used refrigerants.
Not a whole lot of companies do what we do. We handle some of the grunt work that they don't want to do, and we can do it 10 times as fast as they can. The recovery portion, the cylinder exchanges, and buying back used material that otherwise can't be used.
We play a big role with our contractors, whether that be HVAC, mechanical, or demolition contractors. Our whole purpose is to get on site and not only help them save money in the project, but offer an environmental solution.
We do not want any of these products getting vented to atmosphere, no matter how low the GWP is. Now it's not only the cylinder to recover the product, but it's making sure the technicians have equipment that are rated to work with flammable gases. That's really important for people.
So by us being able to contain it in cylinders, reclaim it, we're saving the environment one recovery at a time.
My name is Mike Idle. Today I wanted to give you an overview of Amatrol's T7300 HVAC control system. This system is designed to align a hands-on workstation, as you see here, along with interactive curriculum to teach the operation, installation, application, and troubleshooting of control systems related to the HVAC industry. As components and features of HVAC systems get smarter in both the residential and commercial fields, it's important for current and future HVAC technicians to be trained up. What types of circuits are used, familiarity, learning, operation, maintenance, troubleshooting are all important areas to cover in that.
Here at NAVAC, we are obsessed with delivering the best HVAC tools on the market. Our tools are built for professionals and engineered for precision, just like Harley-Davidson motorcycles. NAVAC Nation, it's time for you to feel the power both on and off the job site. Let's stand up in our pursuit of perfection. From coast to coast, NAVAC forges the path forward. Wherever you are, we will be right beside you.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us once again on Did You Know, the ESCO HVAC show. We've got a very intriguing topic today that you're either going to love it or you're going to feel challenged by it. Hopefully you feel challenged either way. But it's a topic that is really gaining a lot of buzz, a lot of controversy. I'm a big fan of technology and innovation. We talk about that a lot here on the show. And so today we're going to dive into tools that are actually designed for educators to be successful in a classroom as well as the students. So we're hanging out today with Professor James Morales. How are you, sir?
Doing great.
And where are you joining us from today?
I'm joining you from northern Arizona, in a little town called Cottonwood, Arizona, near Sedona. I don't know if you guys know where
Really?
Sedona is. Yeah.
I bet you have some beautiful scenery there.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful up here. That's why I live up here.
I bet. So you did a class at our conference this year at the National HVACR Education Conference on artificial intelligence, and it was incredibly well received. And that's not always been the case when you're doing this class for different conferences. And I want us to be able to talk about the changes that's happening and give our instructors resources, tools that will really make them more productive. I know for myself, I use a variety of different AI tools. Todd, I'm sure you use a variety of, different tools yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all they are. They're tools. Just like my screwdriver, just like my multimeter. They're things that we use to make us more successful. So let's tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll actually dive into the content itself.
Okay. First of all, before I got into HVAC education, I was a HVAC contractor. And even before that, I was a business owner for over 30 years. And so HVAC was my thing. So I decided to go into teaching and started working by college back in 2022. And during that time, there was a lot of changes going on around the educational platform. And one of them was introduction of AI and VR into the classroom. And this was several years ago now, and it was very new then. It was very new then. And some executives came and donated a bunch of product, programs and equipment to the school to use as a training ground. And basically gave us the tools, didn't really know what to do at that point, except to try to introduce them. So I went through a series of failures and victories and, good results over a period of 3 or 4 years. And after about that time, in 2025 in spring, I had been working on creating an app for my classroom in order to use AI effectively. And after that, I was able to sit on a panel and explain to instructors how to use it. And during the time, I was telling Clifton about this earlier, but and just 1 year ago, I have a timeline where the instructors were very resistant, very negative about AI. And there's a lot of good reasons to be. But as I started doing more conferences, I was asked, that happened last year about this time. And then a few months later, I was asked to speak at Arizona Community College Administrator Conference, where 21 colleges came together, and I gave another class on AI in the classroom. And it was better received, less resistance, people interested, but still quite new. And then a few months later, I was speaking at the HVAC Excellence Conference, and I found the attitude changed quite a bit from there. And people were more receptive, wanting to understand how it could help in the classroom. And I guess that's why it was popular, is because I gave some tools that would help instructors to get started. So that's kind of been my journey to get to your podcast today.
Absolutely. And it is. It's about giving back. I mean, that's the reason you're here and I'm here and Todd's here. You're actually going to be presenting this material at an up and coming conference. And so this content is prepped for that, but it's a perfect segue into, like, where do we begin and what can we do with artificial intelligence? So if we have time at the end of the show, I'll actually go through some examples of AI that I use in my daily my daily workflow. But yeah, let's go ahead and start here. And you should be able to have control of the slides now as well.
Okay. Well, we'll kind of go through this briefly.
Sure.
Let me go through here. Of course, that's me and who I am, but I did that with you guys. So one of the things that I do in my sessions is I kind of do an overview, and it's where is AI in education now? Where is AI from an instructor view? And that's one thing that I really want to emphasize on the discussion that we have. This is about a human instructor taking the primary role in education. And that's what I'm about. That's why I want to give back to the community and why I've been asked to speak at several of these conferences. But I'll also show you how introducing AI into the classroom, some of the pitfalls, some of the good things about it. We can explore some of AI's instructional role inside the classroom and use in the lab, which is kind of interesting because when I went to HVAC Excellence, I asked who's using it in their lab. Well, no one's really using it in their lab. And I can show you how you can use it. But in any case, again, the most important thing is AI is an instructional assistant for educators. Okay. And that's what I really want to come off as.
And I'm curious, anyone in the chat, if you're currently using AI tools in your lab, like in the actual physical lab itself, let us know. We'll be curious of, how you're using it. If not, let us know that as well, because this is going to be quite new and intriguing for you if you're not already introducing it.
Okay, so let's continue on here. So the way I got started in this whole thing is that our school had an initiative in 2023 to introduce AI and VR into the classroom. And I started looking at AI in general in 2022. And that was pretty much in its infancy. And it had a lot of problems. It would hallucinate. It was glitchy. It would give a lot of wrong answers. It's just a big, to me, it looked like a glorified Google search tool or a Siri or something like that. It reminded me of that. So I wasn't too impressed. But then we had these executives come in from Silicon Valley, and they gave us a bunch of product and stuff to do in our classrooms to try out this new equipment. And it was really quite amazing. We had virtual reality given to us and AI. And they actually, one of the biggest things that they had to emphasize on us how this was going to redefine educational experiences. You can see kind of my classroom. I show a lot of my classrooms in my presentations, but down below here, I give this is middle school actually, and we have little mini classes that we invite as an outreach to the community and bring them in. You can see they have these VR glasses here. And then up on top is my college group. And what's really interesting, these guys, when you get into this immersive environment, you start to like move around and swing your arms and dance around in there. It's kind of cute when these middle school do it, but when these big burly guys do it, man, they start
thumping each other a little bit.
Yeah, they break stuff in my class. So anyways, it was really quite neat, though. It was nice to see. But what was really intriguing was the AI that offered kind of a personalized learning experience through an adaptive platform, which means it adapts to each person individually. And that was really intriguing to me. And I kind of focused more on that. But one thing that is for sure happening in the educational space is AI is becoming essential in education. It has a role in education. Mm-hmm. But what's really interesting is that trade educators like us are defining what that role is going to be. And one thing that's really important that I found out, especially by having some new instructors in our building. I'm actually the senior instructor now, but when we have new instructors, I actually invite them to use AI. And just recently, the electrical instructor actually was on board with AI, and he has advanced so quickly, it blows my mind. I have seen so many instructors start in this field, and he just went right to it. Loves AI, and it helps him create content, quizzes, everything. So one thing that I will say, and it's kind of important, is that instructors need to master AI, or we're going to have they're going to be left behind. If they resist it, they're going to be left behind. And in the end, AI may master us, and we don't want that to happen. So we want to take control in this space as educators. And I think
that's an important part for us to understand from this is that we're actually going to be showing you and giving you the tools on how to control and how to own the actual education yourself. When we look at AI in general, there are a lot of people who have fun with AI, doing content creation, and we see it every day and we enjoy it every day. But when we start talking about introducing it into our classroom, a lot of people are very hesitant on that, and we're hoping to help break that stigma today.
Absolutely, and I'd like to show you some things on that, but let's continue on here really
Sure,
quick.
absolutely.
So one of the things that was very prominent during my discussions with many instructors around the country is kind of some key concerns that they have of implementing AI.
Yep.
A lot of them could be job security, the fear of being replaced by this new technology, the skill gaps. So there's the pressure to learn quickly and to adapt to some of these unfamiliar terms, tools, and also a loss of authority, concern that the students may start to trust AI and these simulations more than their actual classroom. And so there's a lot of underlying factors as well, because there is a lack of professional development and support. When I started, there was none. Now there is, where I'm on your show and we're giving this kind of support and development and how to use AI. So that's becoming popular now. So that's really good. And then some of the key concerns were student misuse of AI, which is a problem.
Absolutely.
We'll kind of go into that. But one of the most important thing was the uncertainty about the long-term role of human instructors. And that sounds funny now, but if you have seen what I've seen, especially with all this new technology coming out of Silicon Valley, it's impressive. Augmented reality, where you overlay reality with virtual tools. I don't know if you guys have seen all that, but it's really quite intimidating. You can go up to a unit and it overlay it with a virtual diagram over the top of it. I mean, it's really quite amazing. Like I said, there's reasons to be concerned, but as I was telling Clifton earlier, that the human relationship and our ability to build that relationship with students, we can see things that AI can't possibly see.
Yeah, it all comes back to, whatever is fed out of it comes from the things that we feed into it, and it's only going to be as good as it is directed, at least for now.
Right. So where is AI now in education? My daughter is a high school teacher in the Tucson Unified School District in Tucson, Arizona, and she is on this platform. So it is becoming a mainstream. It is essential. And on this particular dashboard, she can create content, schedule courseware, create chatbots, do a lot of different things. And then the student, on the other hand, can use this same platform to create language tutor, math tutors, get a sandbox to explore digital tools and stuch like that. So it's being used now, and in public schools. It's just beginning, but it's coming strong. Of course, I had talked to Clifton about the AI embedded publisher courseware, where last year, I think I went to the HVAC Excellence in 2025. I didn't see any of this stuff.
No, not at all.
When they were embedding AI into their platforms, but they're good. I'm glad they're doing it. But what I had seen when I was at the conference is that they're integrated into textbook platforms, and they're content restricted, where they're limited to the materials of the publisher. And their platform is locked in, where AI typically works within that publisher's learning system. And there's limited instructor customization in there, where, of course, like local curriculum. What I mean by that is real world applications in a certain part of the country. And but basic AI functions primarily as content support for that publisher's curriculum.
We had a great comment and question come in, and I'm glad that you're joining us, because we're going to be going over a variety of different applications, and we're not in the operation and maintenance, except for we can actually talk about diagnostics. We're actually going to be doing a lot of diagnostics here in this mobile studio. I've got I'll brief you on it a little bit. I have a tool manufacturer that has been sending some prototype tools that are live AI applied diagnostic tools. So they're connected through a hub, so that you're feeding all of your data not into an app, but you're actually feeding the data live into the cloud, and then a large learning model engine is sorting through that data, even looking at the installation manuals, the installation specifications, and doing some interesting diagnostics, all based on existing literature in comparison to current diagnostics. So we're not really into that. We've done some in the past where we've seen large learning models that are finding equipment deficiencies that humans have not been able to detect, especially when we talk about like valves, flow controls, things that we don't spend a lot of time doing manual diagnostics of. So there's a lot of tools that we'll talk about going forward, but today it's mainly going to be on the classroom education side.
And speaking of diagnostics, Clifton, I just wanted to point out that I had reports that the stream is not showing the slide deck on YouTube. So I don't know if there's an issue. Yeah, I see it here. But to that, while you're trying to figure that out, I myself have used it as a tool when tech support wasn't available on a Mitsubishi Multi-City, and love to talk about that. But I don't want to steal away from the presentation. But yeah, I don't know what happened with the slide deck there.
Yeah, I'm chiming in joining in right now to take a look and see.
I can put it on a share screen if that may work as well.
I'm seeing it on YouTube, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll come back to that here in a minute. I'll let you continue talking about this, and I'm going to take a peek and see what's happening here.
Okay. And so what was really interesting was when I introduced AI in my classroom in 2023 and 2024, is that there was really no tools available to do it at that time. And I had to come up with an idea. And because it was an initiative of the school, even though they didn't give me directions on how to do it. So I had to figure it out myself. So what I did was I had the students download ChatGPT into their phones. And we're going to explore it and work with it. They found it really engaging and able to explore a lot of complex topics with it. But I found that students were using ChatGPT during my lecture. And so they would ask me questions during my lecture. And they would, far be it from them to ask those questions. I'm like, how do you know to even ask that question? Well, of course, it was ChatGPT that was asking.
Right.
And so that was a problem. That was something I had to solve. And it's funny, I have a story where one of my students came in and was like, he would come in and ask me questions, interrupt my lecture with all these difficult questions that, I couldn't answer right away. It became like a game to him, and finally, of course, being HVAC technicians, we got to find a way to do some diagnostics on this and fix this problem, right?
Right.
So my way was just simply going back to his reading assignment and questioning him on that, until finally he had been beaten down far enough to where he comes into my office and goes, Mr. Morales, I'm sorry. I have a problem. I got a brain injury. I can't remember things I read. And I said, all right, I'm not going to do that anymore in a classroom. Let's keep on track. So anyways, that was some of the pitfalls of just downloading a generic AI in your classroom.
Yes.
And then there was the concern of using the tool unethically. And I just told you how they did it. And then a heavy reliance on technology where they didn't have to memorize trade terms, terminology, HVAC terminology, procedures. They were using the tool as their memory, and that's not going to work. And so I had to change all that. And then I had to, again, talk to the students when they were chatting with AI on a personal level. Grab one student's phone, the high school students. I was able to do it with the high school students, but I grabbed it out of his hand. I'm like, what are you talking about while I'm talking? And I look at his phone, and it says, hey, why does my girlfriend hate me? And I'm like, well, she hates you because you don't listen when someone's talking to you. And I hand the phone back to him. And these are some of the antics that went on my classroom. I just entered in when I used a generic type of AI. Now,
so any success, Clifton?
No, it's actually not playing on any of the channels, which is really strange. I just removed the source and I've added it back in to see if that changes things. I don't think I've ever encountered that before.
Yeah, I even sent you a private chat, and I didn't know if you saw it, so that's why I jumped in the diagnostics queue there. So,
you want me to try a share screen on my own, the desktop model?
I think we should. Yeah, for some reason, the Restream player is not
behaving,
allowing it. Yeah, it's so odd. I mean, I can see it on my screen. I can see us on the feed, but I'm not seeing the presentation. I apologize to everyone. That is.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, absolutely.
Give it a minute and I'll see if it shows up on YouTube on the other side.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and remove the other feed too.
Well, I apologize to the audience for that. We're talking away and I look up and I don't see it. So Figured I'd jump in there. I know Howard mentioned something too. So, but not sure why the problem is there. There we go.
All right, now
I
we're
see it.
popping up on live. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. We'll keep on pressing forward, and I'll overlay these on the edited video.
Yeah.
Just like they were there the whole time.
Okay, so let's continue. So how do you implement AI as an instructor? This is one of the things that I talk about in my session is so timing of introduction to AI is important. I go through 3/4 of my course to first build a knowledge base in my students before I even let them use AI. I limit use during the lectures and interacting with students during lectures. Again, this is something I learned. It sounds like an easy thing that you would know, but when you're first doing this, you're kind of learning as you go along what you can and cannot do. And but I had to find a solution for my iPhone use, and it doesn't have to be that way. There's ways you can use phones in there, but I had an iPad, so I knew when anybody was going online to chat, they would pick up my iPad, and so I knew then. And then I had to find a more suitable AI. So I actually had to create an HVAC AI that wouldn't talk to them about anything but HVAC. And so they could talk personally with it.
Makes sense.
So it's tuned to them.
Put some guardrails up so they stay within HVAC and HVAC only.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then to responsibly integrate AI, there's got to be some transparency between the student and the educator, and they got to know. Students have to know AI's role, where it can be used, when it can be used, how it can be used,
and when it can't.
And when it can't be used, exactly. And it's good. We're going to avoid replacing critical thinking. We need that part in our daily lives, right? We can't let something else do our critical thinking. Another thing that I had to do was to ensure access for all learners, which means that besides the iPad, I let them download my app on their phone so they can converse with AI about HVAC only off campus, which really helped a lot. I mean, it was really, they stayed engaged even after the class was done because they had like a personal conversation. That was the neat thing. Yeah, it was neat. But what I found
was their peer tutoring session, really.
Yeah, exactly. And what I found that was really interesting is there's a balance. And that AI could actually complement my teaching and not replace me, and become my assistant. And that's what it dawned on me, that we could use this in a very big way to really help my students and myself.
And so I want to touch on that real quick, Clifton. You mentioned something about complimenting you as a teacher. Yeah, it's not here to replace us. It's here to supplement us and help us get to that next level of our teaching.
Right.
And if as you mentioned, when we first joined or came online here, it's a tool, and that tool is only as good as the person using it.
Exactly. And to continue on here, one of the things that I started to realize is we were preparing students for the future. We were building AI literacy, and it is a workforce skill, especially in HVAC. You have to know terminology and procedures, and components. And again, as Cliff and I had talked about earlier, that these technical fields are already integrating AI into some of their software and diagnostic tools. The students gain confidence in digital problem solving and adaptability into a lot of this evolving technology by having this in their hand and using other digital type of apps. They can now feel comfortable in that space and be prepared for the future, which is going to be using a lot more of these types of tools.
We're already seeing new equipment that is being connected directly to the cloud. We're going to see more of that. I work on a panel, it's called Connected Commissioning, where I work with manufacturers and different industry organizations on what the next generation of commissioning looks like for HVAC equipment. And some of the manufacturers have already started the solution of doing direct cloud communication, so that on startup, the equipment is going through a self-commissioning process and the technician is monitoring all the results and making adjustments based on what that connected commissioning platform is. We're not talking about years down the road. I mean, we're talking about next year.
Right.
And these are the skill sets that we have to learn about and we have to be prepared for. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help you be prepared for this. It's going to be part of your classroom.
It is. It is. And one of the things that we found using AI to help us in our labs is that it helped reinforce HVAC terminology. And I talked to Clifton about this earlier. Instead of, I don't get so much of this there, what is this thingy here? Or what is this, whatchamacallit? I'm starting to get more component identification procedures, HVAC terminology. It's really reinforced that by using that. Also,
is the camera then identifying the components?
It does, but yeah, it does. And I'll show you how that works here in a little bit.
Okay. Sweet.
As you can see, I have a young girl here on my screen. She's one of my students. She got a job as an HVAC technician, and she wanted to practice in my lab doing AC pre-inspections. So I downloaded her a form, and she would come back every few minutes and ask me, well, I don't understand this part. And I was dealing with several students at the time, and I would take time away from that. But to make it short, the student, I gave the iPad to the student, I uploaded the lab so that she could directly ask my app, which is called Professor HVAC. I said, you ask Professor HVAC the same questions you would ask me. And she did. And she was able to do the whole lab. I didn't see her for a whole hour. She comes back and she goes, I really understand it a lot more, and I don't need you anymore. I got Professor HVAC. And I'm like, oh, that's what I get for showing you that. But anyways, it was great because it helps build confidence in labs. It gives that on-demand explanation when I'm with another student. And so it's great. And that,
yeah, we build out a thorough lab plan and we're entering it in. We're actually reading through our own instructions. And so it can give feedback on our own instructions.
Right.
Sure. Completely makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. It's really neat. And you'll see your class just move forward very quickly.
In a way,
like
it's like having that assistant there that,
exactly.
You know, your teacher's assistant, right? So you can kind of triage some of the students' questions right there in your lab.
Exactly.
But it's answering with my
confidence.
content.
Yeah, and confidence.
Exactly.
Right on. And so there's a lot of benefits that students are gaining from using AI in the classroom. They learned how to make efficient AI inquiries. Good content in, good content out. Right. It encourages the self-directed learning that they have with the AI after the class. They can chat directly and kind of do some self-directed learning. Builds confidence in those labs, and it prepares those students for AI workplaces. And it frees the instructor for high impact intervention. What do I mean by that is, so I teach a brazing soldering class. There's nothing more hair raising or dangerous than giving a bunch of 17-year-olds a flamethrower in your class. And I have to be there for those types of labs. And this frees me to do that in many, many ways. And so what I like to do now is just kind of give some practical strategies for some instructors that are out there right now. How do they get started?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to get to that. And first of all, again, you want to build a knowledge base first in your students before you introduce it. You want to start small. You want to stay in control. You want to use AI as your teaching partner, not something you hand off to AI. You're going to be building AI literacy in yourself as well as your students as you learn how to put in good inquiries and get good replies out of that. You wanted to try to integrate it naturally and be transparent about what uses that you're going to allow AI in. And again, I have gone back to doing paper tests in my class. I make them clear off their tables, and they have a sheet of a quiz on there of the study of that week. And they have to answer it with no phone, no book, no nothing. And I find out exactly what they learned that week. So there's some things that AI is really helping me on. And then actually being able to double check my students and see what they're actually learning.
Are you using any type of AI scanning to actually scan those handwritten assessments?
I do. I want to show you that. But let me continue. I got a few minutes, right? I could actually show some simple things without my app. You can do on your own.
Okay.
Is that all right if I show some instructors that?
Oh yeah, we're here to learn.
Yeah, I'm eating it up. So
I'm going to give some basic instructions for some instructors that maybe haven't started, and this is the way to get started. And I'll show you very quickly how to do that. So what you want to do is you want to open up an account at one of the generic AIs, and you want to start creating content. And by practicing by interaction, you're going to interact with AI, and your skill is going to grow as you interact. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a demonstration. It's kind of really simple, but I think it may help a lot of instructors who need to get started on this and don't know how. And so I'm going to show a simple procedure with AI using just using ChatGPT. And I'm going to just play this video. It's a couple of minutes, but let's look at it.
We'll see if it has any audio.
So I'm going to do just a quick demo on.
Can you hear it?
Yep.
Okay.
Get started in using AI. I'm going to simply use ChatGPT. I would recommend downloading it and establishing an account just to get started. I have a class that I had formed for my adjunct, and one of the things that I hadn't in one of the weeks that we're doing is I hadn't put together a lab for him. So, and it would be a written lab because it's for an oil fire heater, and we live in the middle of Arizona. But in any case, so what I would do is I would come over to my files. These are files on my desktop, and I'm going to go over to this week that I don't have that file for, and I need to do it in troubleshooting. So I'm going to simply copy my troubleshooting PowerPoint, and this is basically the content that's in there. So you can just take a quick look at it. And so it's loading up, and it's basically looks like this. This has a lot of content in it, and the AI is going to be able to read that. So I'm going to come up here and paste it, and then I'm going to ask it to create a written lab. Takes a little while, but it's thinking about it. So we could see that they had created them, and they have them in downloads for me. So I can download these, and they would.
well, we lost
Oh
James.
no.
But while we wait for James to jump back in, Clifton, oh, there's James.
Yeah, I think it was a Restream one.
Okay.
I think Restream's having some problems today. Let's see if it will continue playing.
Okay, that's okay. And again, what I was using back there is just a generic ChatGPT. Anybody can open an account and do that. And what you do is you go to your files, you copy your files, and you drop it straight into the ChatGPT box and ask it to create content for you, and it will create some content, very good content, as a matter of fact. That's something someone can get started in. And again, practice will help your skill grow at that. And so I'm just showing just a simple way an instructor can get started using AI to create content and classroom coursework. Another thing it can do, like for diagrams and stuff, I show a little part of this video where I have my adjunct is starting a class, and I had him send me a picture to put in his bio for an introduction to the class. And I'll kind of show you how AI and just a generic chat GPT had fixed his photo. So let me show you to
Here, but you can take a look. That's my adjunct, kind of a little bit serious. And so I want to actually create it a little better. And this is in ChatGPT. Clean this up. For a bio. Let's see what it does. So it actually makes the picture a lot better. Let's make it even better. Make him smiling. And so it actually, look at the transition. So here is his original picture. And now his AI generated picture.
Okay, and the reason why I show that is you can take diagrams and pictures and photos, and AI can help you redesign them. And so this is all done in ChatGPT. Anybody can open an account and get started in using AI.
Yeah, I use it a lot. We get to the end. I may demo some of the ways that I'll use it, even for classroom content. But it's very intriguing. Once you start looking at the potential of it, it'll make you think of ways that you can use it in the lab and in the classroom.
Okay. All right. So those are simple ways. And then I want to show you how actually my app works. I don't sell the app. I give it away. So I can show you how this differs from ChatGPT. Do we have enough time, or are we run out of time here?
Oh, yeah, no, we still got 20 minutes left.
Okay. So let me just show you. I want to show you how this works in my app. Again, I don't sell it, so don't think I want to try to sell this to everyone. But so what we have here is two dashboards. One is on the left-hand side. This is the student dashboard. And on the right-hand side, this is the instructor dashboard. And I just want to play a little bit of it so you can see how it functions.
So let's look at the two dashboards side by side. This is the student dashboard on the left-hand side. This is the instructor's dashboard on the right-hand side. And what I could do is I could copy a link here and send to my students, and they will open up an account and they will join. And when they join my classroom, I can see on my dashboard that I have 8 students here, 4 total lab content, 20 chats. I could look at the chats that my students are having with AI, so I can become part of that actually. So what I would do is I would, let's go over to lab content on my side. What I would do on my side, and there's the 4 labs there, and you could see them over on the student dashboard. So I would add lab content. And again, I use my own content. And so I would look into my files, and then I would actually come in here and grab one of my files and then upload it. And then it would show up in this area. And over here, they'd be able, it would pop up on screen and they would see it. And so I could view the details here. So here's the lab that I uploaded. It's got a lot of detail, a lot of photos. On their side, again, they could see this lab content as well. What's really great about it is like the student could actually come back and say, all right, I want to chat about this lab with the AI, with Professor HVAC AI. So they come here and there's the attached chat. It's logged in, and then you can ask a question. It says, what is the first part of this lab? The AI will actually, it'll come up here as a discussion. And on my end, I could see it on my end. So I could see what I call this table 6, and this is table 6. And what is the first part of this lab? And here it is, what's the first part of this lab? And so I could see what it's talking to the student about on their dashboard. The neat thing about it is I could actually interject something like instructor here, and then show the student what the evaporator is for, and send it. So now I could send this over and they would see it. So I actually sent it twice. But anyways, instructor here, show the student what the evaporator is for. So now I've entered as a third party into the dashboard, and it can become part of the discussion. It's based upon me, and it's thinking about what I'm saying. But in any case, again, it's very helpful. So here it is, the evaporator coil in a heat pump. It tells everything that it.
So anyways, I just wanted to show that very quickly, how this third-party interaction works, and I can actually improve my teaching, my instruction, by seeing the same questions being asked over and over. I can also interject with the student and direct the AI to do what I want the AI to do. So again, my whole basis on my sessions are about the instructors staying the centerpiece of education. And
yeah,
so
you're directing all of the conversation. You'd mentioned like you could have 3 different labs going on at once, and you're monitoring all the students in all 3 labs. You see the questions that they're asking. They're only working off from your curriculum. It's not like they're out playing on the tablet, surfing the web. Like they are in class using technology, using artificial intelligence as part of the classroom.
Right. This is part of the classroom work. And I want to show you in this next one where my AI can actually now enter into my lab and see what's going on in there and help the students and direct them in labs. Let me show you that really quick. And so let's take a look. So what I want to do here is give you a little demonstration on how it can be used in labs. This is a training board that our students actually build for other students to train on. It's electrical trainer. And so basically what I want to do here is just come in here and take a picture of this board. And one of the things that's interesting is if it can even figure out what this training board is. So I go in here and take a picture and then inquire about it. And I allow a microphone. So the microphone is in use and it asks it and it answers it. It actually knows that it's a training board and it talks about the different components on here. It's really quite interesting how detailed this is. It talks about even the names of those components. But one thing that's really interesting as well is that if I come in here and take a picture of just one component in there that a student may not remember what it was, I can ask it, what does this do? Or what is this component? And then ask it and thinks about it for a little bit. And then it'd go right in there and give us an answer right there that this is a contactor and give it how to wire it, everything, how to test it. So again, that's why it has strengthened the HVAC terminology and trade terms and stuff in my classroom for the student. They're able to ask questions on demand while I'm with another student or in actually another room. It makes an extension of myself, and for the most part. And so it's really pretty cool. It actually does a lot more than that. I'll kind of speed it up here, but I have these trainers here, and it can take a picture of that and ask them if it knows what it is. So it's thinking about it, looking at that picture, and it's got to come up with an answer here. And there it is. It tells that it's a trainer. It actually knows the trainer and it can tell me about it. So I'm going to. Another thing is it can look inside component areas and be able to, again, help the student. Test some components inside. So let's continue. But anyways, I don't want to go too far into that. But again, this is why it's so handy in my classroom.
Yeah.
It can do labs. It can interact with the student like a personal tutor. And so my class has advanced quite a bit because of that.
You know, especially if I'm working with a pre-assembled trainer from one of our manufacturers like Amatrol that already has all of the written curriculum, has all of the lab experiences. If it can recognize that and all of the content that I have, I mean, we have an entire workflow that is being managed by an AI adjunct instructor.
And staying in the guardrails with that curriculum that's made for that specific,
for that particular unit. Yeah. Okay. That's got my all right.
But
very excited.
But what's really neat is like you can take the camera, copy a page out of the publisher's courseware, and drop it into ChatGPT, and it can converse with you on that. It's pretty neat.
Well, for those that are joining us, how can we learn more about the app and how to actually use it?
So on my app, I do have a scan, something they could scan really quick if they want. Let me see if I can get to that.
So imagine I have people that are going to go, okay, maybe it's time that I do incorporate. I want to learn. I want to take some baby steps. I want to start somewhere. Heck, I'm wanting to start somewhere now. I've got all this pre-built curriculum for some of my components in here that I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's time that I start building my own.
I think this will work if someone scans that with their phone, or you could take the information. I'll give you my information here as well. Does that actually scan on your phone all right?
Yeah, no, it's grabbing it. Absolutely.
It goes to a Google Doc, Yep.
You can just go there and request Professor HVAC app, and I'll get it out to you. Again, it's just something that I try to give back to the community. I really don't know how to sell it anyway, so what am I supposed to do? But in any case.
Well, we really appreciate that because it is about giving back to the community. I mean, that's why most of us are in education, is we want to, we want to develop that next generation.
Okay. Well, I'll leave the rest of it open and you guys can ask questions or we can go back and forth with our time we have left.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone that has questions, I encourage you to chime in. Another one that I thought would be a good one to show is, just some of the basic tools that I'll use around here. We get calls quite often about updating just courses. An instructor, maybe they've got a heat pump course already, and they're seeing all of the information that we're putting out about, energy skilled recognized heat pump certifications and high performance heat pump courses. But if we already have a heat pump course and we want to bring in and create a new course, that's a lot of work, right? It's gonna have to be reviewed. But could we take our existing course and just simply modify it using ChatGPT, right? Or using a engine? And so I'm going to do just a very quick example of how we can do that with tools that are already out there. So I'm going to bring in just a screen share here, and I'm going to take one of our local schools. Here's an Ivy Tech right here next to me. They've got a heat pump course, right? It's already established. It's what they're using. Well, what if I could take that course, throw it in, and go just simply update this class to include energy skilled components from HVAC excellence and an energy skilled certification. So I'm simply just taking the content that was already there. I'm just copying it in. Nothing crazy. And a few seconds later, I've got an updated heat pump course, same prereqs, covers all of the same credentialing hours, and it's just added in the additional learning objectives, added in the additional certification, updated the content, updated what those additional components are from Energy Skilled. And in seconds, I have it.
There you go.
So it's those kind of things that can make our job so much easier when we just look at the tools that are out there currently. And we're not talking about spending a bunch of money to do that. We're simply talking about using existing tools and creating new opportunities and objectives in the classroom.
And that's perfect, because I try to show those tools and how much you can do. The only thing different with my app, it's just a click of a button and it's all in one place. That's basically the difference. But anyways, I'm glad that you,
Benjamin. Yeah, you need to connect with me, because I'd love to have this conversation, because that's actually where I'm starting to do now, is looking at introducing our electrical diagrams and manuals into some of the content that I'm creating and allowing it to be recognized within that content. And so, yeah, that's a great one. I know for my own software, I am primarily ChatGPT, unless I'm doing creation of photos and things where I'll use Open Art AI. That's where I create most of my generated content that is in the visual realm.
Yeah. And one caution I have from, that are using AI is don't go into AI hallucination, and don't take AI, the first response that you get. And to James's point from earlier is get familiar with it. And the more you use it, the better inputs you get. Garbage, as we say, a calculator, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So if you give it a really poor inquiry or question, it's not going to give you the right answer. So you will find, by utilizing it, finding better ways to ask it in its initial prompts.
And that's a perfect explanation there, because I again, part of my session includes how students learn to make these inquiries. Again, if you put good content in it, you'll get something good out of it. If not, you're going to get something bad. But again, all of these AI that are on the web right now, what they do is they crawl the web and they look for this information. So again, that's why I build a strong knowledge base of my students, so they can determine when the AI gives them the wrong answer.
And that's a good point too. Is I've used AI where many of our audience has too. Is example. I mentioned that I've was up on a rooftop on a Sunday night working on a Mitsubishi Multi-City. Tech Sports closed, And I uploaded that big, thick manual, and I said, stick to this and this only. Do not go out into the web. And it walked me through it step by step, how to diagnose it. And
Amazing.
it was amazing. But I
Yeah.
told it, do not go out of this manual.
Yes, that's perfect. That's awesome. It's going to really help this industry a lot.
Well, I've seen some really good points brought up. If anyone in the audience wants to dive deeper into this, want to actually get into building the programming yourselves, let us know. Maybe that's something we can dive into at a future conversation, but I encourage you to at least get started, at least do something to help you be more successful in a classroom, help you manage the time better. We are all struggling to have enough time to accomplish the task at hand. We're all being asked to do more with less time. How do we do that? We have to implement tools. And right now, the tool that we need to be looking at is artificial intelligence and how to properly use it.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, what's next on the priority then, James? Where are you taking the AI engine next?
Well, I have the third version that's out now, and it's offering a live camera where you could look into equipment, and then it can help do identification, diagnostics, and stuff like that. It can already help with the students to try to read. Like I use Measure Quick in my classroom, and
Sure.
it helps the students kind of sort out the gauges and what they're explaining on those different gauges and stuff like that. And again, you know, it's just like an ongoing project that I've done. It's funny. I actually moved here from southern Arizona, where I was close to Mexico and the ocean, and I was a deep sea fisherman, and I love to fish, and so I spent a lot of money on that, by the way. But I don't have any hobbies up here, so that AI thing has been like keeping me involved and interested. And I love technology. That's one reason why I love the HVAC field so much, is because of all the new technology that's coming out, and it's fun. In a lot of ways, it's fun. And I try to put that into my students. I build that into them, how satisfying an HVAC career is. And it pays well. It keeps you interested, and there's a sense of accomplishment. And there's nothing more thankful than rolling up to a house in Arizona that lost their air conditioning and it's 110 out. When you pull up in that driveway, it's like you're the hero, and you're treated as such. And when you fix it, you just get the praise and tips, and it's a very satisfying career.
That it is.
Absolutely.
So those of you as educators that are struggling to get the technology out of the students' hands in your classroom, you just replace it with a technology that fits your agenda. All right. Well, it's been an interesting show. A lot of hiccups along the way, but we always manage. We always figure out our technology and get through the scenario. I'm grateful that everybody joined us today, and I look forward to catching you all again next week. And James, thank you so much for sharing. And I encourage all of you to reach out and learn more about the app and how his app can help your classroom, and just stick your toes into the artificial intelligence water.
Yeah, I'll be happy to collaborate with any other instructors and help them along the way. I'll leave Clifton my contact information, and then you can pass that along.
Sounds great. All right, everyone, I appreciate you joining us. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And we'll see you all again next week on Did You Know, the ESCO HVAC show. Bye, everybody.
Bye.